series on producing a song. We're focusing on the post-production aspects, so after everything's been recorded, basically, producers and engineers will go in and tweak the track as needed in whatever ways possible. So that includes editing, tuning, mixing, mastering, and basically you have a bunch of tracks, right? With the hope that they'll end up being a finished stereo file that will be distributed, and at which point you can listen to on your phone, which is really cool. So in step 1, we did rhythm section edits last week. And what we'll be doing this time around is taking a look at the backing vocals, which are these channels here. So the first step we'll need to take in order to do this is I think I'm going to clean up these channels because this is how they arrived when they were tracked for us. So the first step we'll do is I'll duplicate the playlist, and basically what that does for me is I can maintain my edits progressively throughout playlists and maintain the original track itself. That way, if I make any mistakes, I always have the original file to go back to, especially if we're going to be rendering audio, or in other words, committing to the audio after processing. So we want to make sure that there's no extraneous noise before we even start tuning, right? So what we might do is strip silence the parts of these tracks that we don't need. So any part where there's no waveform, right? Let's go and start with this one. So looks pretty good. Start pad a little bit longer. Let's take a listen and see what's going on right here. When you see me adjusting this fader, I'm just turning up the level of the playback for the track that I'm working on. Well, I can't necessarily share the actual song with you all on YouTube, so you'll just have to hear it when it comes out, and I'll make sure to link it when it comes out. So basically, the strip silencing identifies parts of the waveform that we don't need, contained here, here, and from here forward, and without needing to do the manual edits like this, it does it for us. Like that. Do the same thing on this clip. On this clip too. Make sure we set the boundaries correctly. Sometimes the program doesn't recognize audio regions properly. So we just need to make sure. Looks good. It sounds like my computer's about to take off. Let me see if I can adjust my mic a little bit. Okay, that might be slightly better. I might have to find a more permanent solution going forward, but it should work for now. I don't like that it made a cut right here, so I'm going to connect So select it. Yep. Okay, now that looks pretty good. Now, I think I really like the backing vocals at this tail end right here. I wish you all could hear it. It's really pretty. It sounds really good in that fade out, and so I'm editing them as a group in this case because they sound better as a section, rather. Same thing here. Okay. So I like everything there as well, but I think these edits are going to be a little bit different. We're going to have to trim like so to the same spot. So we can get a clean edit. Yeah, so he needs his own separate tail, unlike these guys. You know what? I didn't do these yet. Let me just knock these out really quick. Just burning through this for a second. So, you'll note that sometimes in Pro Tools, my selector is snapped to the grid and then really quickly I'm in slip. I personally hate flipping between slip and grid, either by clicking it or tildeing through all of them. So what I do instead is I stay in grid most of the time, and if I just select with the mouse, it's just normal grid, but when I hold command and select, it goes into slip mode temporarily, which is a lot more useful than like, oh, like I'm in grid, okay, I want to go to slip, right? Then tilde over to it, and that's just much easier to just hold down command instead. That's really nice right there. We want to save the breath, so I'm going to do a logarithmic there so it comes up first. Actually, S-curve might make sense here. There we go. I don't like the S-curve. I don't want to mess with that because there's a really nice breath right there. It might be too much though in the full track, so let's see. Yeah, okay, it's too much. So in context with everything, it's too much breathiness because the lead vocal is also getting kind of breathy there. So we'll just go ahead and cut that. So we're going to need to do some different fades here. This one's going to have to be to there. These three guys can be to there. And then these two can come in a little bit and come up. And then, let's see, she held the note a little bit longer. I'm not sure if we'll want that, but I'm going to leave that to the vocal tuning part of this vocal editing, because I don't want to make that decision right away without the artist here to sort of make that decision with me, because we could tailor this edit to match this vocal, make these two match this one in terms of the length of the vocal pad, or we can leave them sort of running off. So we'll see what they say. This is our last vocal edit. Oh my god, it's a loud car. Let's do that, and then that, and that. Let's see if that sounds right. Yeah, sounds great. So, as you can see, this vocal edit is a lot cleaner compared with the original, right? Thank you all for tuning in to, I guess, what's probably going to be part one of this vocal tuning and editing process. The next time around, we're going to transfer the vocals into Melodyne, and from there we're going to fine-tune the vocal performances channel by channel. So make sure to like, subscribe, and share, and I'll see you all next time.